Well, the race for the NRL Premiership is down to 6 teams. Manly and Newcastle bit the dust last week. Welcome to our preview of round 2 of the finals. I'm Mathew Thompson, back with Mr. Perfect, Tim Gilbert. I bagged him from pillar to post for tipping Parramatta last week, and you've come up with the cash, mate.
Can't always be right, can you? What we said was go to the tape if we were right, destroyed if we were wrong. We were right this time. Yeah, and it worked exactly to plan, didn't it? St George gave the impression, that they'd played their grand final the week before. The crowd was going off. They were going around the field with the JJ Gilton and Shield, and they'd put a perfect game together that night. You can't do it 2 weeks in a row. And Parramatta, Daniel Anderson, he's an outstanding coach. He'd come up with the game plan, and when you got blokes like Jared Hayne and Nathan Hindmarsh at their best, they won the game. And they should win this week too, I would think.
No, I think they'll be winning this week. But interesting the way the Dragons attacked last week, I thought. We're used to the dynamic attack when they sweep the ball wide. Well, they just tried to play through the centre. And, well, I know Parramatta's defence was good, but they didn't ask too many questions in attack, I don't think, the Dragons.
Well, they probably tried to keep it too simple. You can't, once you get to the pointy end of the season, these teams are so close, they almost thought that they would get through it, this is my impression anyway, by just playing mistake-free football. But when you've got a team that's just got the player, well, the king of rugby league, arguably the best player in the world, you can't do that. You've got to create stuff, and they stumbled a bit, didn't they? They just, they'll be better this week, and I really find it hard to find a winner in that Brisbane-St George game. I just think that is going to be such a tight match.
Well, let's have a look at the first game this weekend, the Eels versus the Titans. Big story here in the betting. They're off the map already, Parramatta. The Betfair punters generally wait and just see how things pan out during the week before they invest, but they've come for Parramatta here. They're $1.50 into $1.36 already, and $3.60 the Titans. They'll be out the door. You can really name your price, the Gold Coast, the way of money's been coming for Parramatta, who I think will be far too good again.
Yeah, I can't find a way for the Gold Coast to win. I think Parramatta would need to have some injuries. They seem to have their off day a couple of weeks ago, and everything else has been good. It's all desperation football. It's here in Sydney. Gold Coast travel poorly. They've proved that every few weeks, haven't they? A couple of games here and there on the road, but in the main, they're not good on the road. Parramatta, in my opinion, will win and could win comfortably.
Yeah, I think they will too. That was a funny game, the Titans and Brisbane. I mean, I know they showed some mettle to get back in the game, the Gold Coast, but what about the scoreline in the first week of the... I thought it was going to be a sort of a knock them down, drag it out affair, but there was points raining from the sky.
Great game of football. Two very talented outside backs from both Brisbane and the Gold Coast. A lot of young guys, Yale, Yee, Mead. Fantastic players for not just now, but the future. Yeah, all about 19, 20. It was a good game. And the atmosphere, that is just the loudest atmosphere I've ever experienced here in Australia.
Really?
And it was only 27,000 people. It was like being over at the Wankhede Stadium in Bombay. It roars, that joint.
There you go.
And they won't have that this week.
No. Broncos versus the Dragons. Well, the script's written here. Brisbane outsiders already. $2.08. The Dragons $1.90 with Betfair and early trading. But the script is set. The master coach, Big Wendell, they go back to Suncorp. The Dragons fighting to keep their season alive. Oh, gee, it's a mouth-watering clash, this one. I reckon they can win. The Dragons.
Former godfather of Brisbane, stalking the turf he used to own. It's a bit like that, isn't it? Wayne Bennett.
You've been working on that.
Yeah, I've been a little bit. I stole a bit from Coldplay. But, as I said to you before, all year we've had to bet. I don't know if I can pick a winner here. Because it's that tight. I will go Brisbane on the home ground advantage, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if St George won. I think you could go to Golden Point. There is absolutely nothing in this. Brisbane let the Spinnaker down too early against the Gold Coast last week. St George were off their game. If I can remember back to that game we did at Wynn Stadium a few weeks ago, when Brisbane actually started their roll on, or they started to convince people that they could do things in this competition. It was beating the Dragons down there. And that day, Dave Taylor ran right, and he ran all over the top of Jamie Soward and a few others. If they can replicate that, they could win well. But if St George can get back to some of that form they showed earlier in the year,
you've got to think too that
flip of a coin.
You've got to think as well. They tried Eric Growth the runaway try when they were playing a bit of catch-up football. The Dragons, that sort of could go either way. So maybe the scoreline was a bit unfavourable. I think their defence is okay. I just think I've really got some concerns about their attack.
I think they were very much the better side last week, Parramatta. They got beaten on the penalties count too, didn't they? It was 5-1 early at some time, so they had everything coming at them. For 20 minutes they defended their own line, so they were a convincing winner. The Dragons, well, mind a premiership, you don't get that from being a poor football team. They've got a big forward pack, and if Brisbane have wobbled at times this year, it's been a little bit of brittleness in that pack. If they don't turn up, well, then the Dragons could win.
So we've got the winner of the Eels versus the Titans playing the
Bulldogs.
Bulldogs.
What about that?
I mean,
it's 80,000 if they played at ANZ.
Well, I was hoping it would be a Bulldogs Parramatta grand final in some part of me, but even though I don't have much time for the Parramatta club. And the Broncos versus the Dragons, the winner there will take on Melbourne, so that'll be a grudge match in itself. So we're looking forward already to next weekend. It's going to be terrific football. Now, as far as the premiership market goes at the moment, we've been saying over the last couple of months that Parramatta were backed at 460 to 1 to win the comp. They're into $5. They're third favourites. 335 favourites Melbourne, 420 Canterbury, Parramatta $5, Brisbane, St George Illawarra into $7.20. They were out to $9 after that loss the other night, and $8.60. The Broncos, the Titans, well, you can get on at whatever price you want, but what about this comeback from Parramatta? It would be, from a betting perspective, the greatest comeback probably in same season comeback we've ever seen.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? Daniel Anderson, middle of the season, would have thrown his hands in the air. They got rid of Brett Finch, they had Hayne at 5'8", all things were wobbling around. They've just gone crack, crack, crack recently, apart from that 37-0 drubbing. Melbourne's still my tip for the comp. Well, did I ever say they were before? But anyway, they are my tip for the comp right as we speak. I just saw that game on Friday night and they were methodical. They were outstanding, weren't they? Smashed Manly to bits.
It's good to watch, wasn't it? They've come good at the right time of the year. That's the way it stands at the moment. Anything else doing in rugby league?
No, just getting through it. You know, I don't ever think I'll resurrect my own career, but just enjoying watching.
Wouldn't have thought so. Betfair.com, the place to go. All the prices up now. We're betting, of course, on the premiership market and all those games head-to-head. Plenty of money flowing through already.
Who did you tip, Brisbane or St George?
St George.
St George. Okay, so Brisbane, St George.
I think they can get it done.
Okay.
But I wouldn't, like you, I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, I'll tell you what, I reckon Brisbane will win. The way I'm tipping, it's dead set the kiss of death.
In the words of Tim and Neil Finn, anything can happen.
Ta-da.
Love you, footy.